Hey everyone, and welcome back to my The Small Biz Artist channel. Today we're going to continue our 14-day assessment and just kind of go over everything. And today we're going to go over time. So if you are a small business or it's a side business for you as an artist, you have a day job like I do, you know time is extremely precious. And this is something I've always struggled with. I've gotten way better this past year of being realistic with how much time I actually have to do things. But I want to kind of do an evaluation of that and see where I could still improve, because I know I can do a lot more improvement. So we're going to do our time assessment. This is the third video. I am writing this assessment word and still haven't looked to see if I'm spelling it right. All right. So right now I have a day job, right? That's great. It's a 9 to 5. That's great. However, I do have days of overtime. So I'm going to add plus occasional overtime. And that overtime, OT, can sometimes be an extra 1 to, let's say, 5 hours, depending on what's happening. Now, it's great in terms of pay. Extra is extra, but it's not consistent, which is good. But there are just occasions where there are just crazy days, right? So, because of that, it can be very difficult to schedule things out and account for my time accurately each week and each day on when to get things done for the side business. So, what I have done for this is I have to find small tasks. Oops, spelled that wrong. Small tasks. And I have to find primary tasks. All right, so my primary task I'm going to go over first, and this is actually making product. And that means the art has to be made, the packaging, if there's special packaging for it, the listings, and because you went over YouTube, I'm going to put editing, photography for the products. You know, these are things that I really need to focus on in order for the business to make money, right? These are things that I try to plan out that can actually be kind of interrupted when I'm working overtime. And if you have a day job that sometimes has overtime or things just go haywire and you're not able to work, knowing what these big tasks are can kind of give you an idea of what's going to be hit the hardest during those times. And if you're sick and stuff, that's okay. Things that can just be interrupted by that. I'm sure I'm missing some other things for the primary tasks, but that's like the big bulk of it, right? And the small tasks are going to be like the really boring stuff, like paperwork, paying taxes, filling out inventory sheets, inventory income expense sheet, what else is there? And there's some other stuff I'm sure I'm just not thinking of right now. So now that I have like the small tasks kind of identified and the primary tasks, what I can do to make sure my business isn't really like falling behind, days where I have this overtime and I'm just exhausted, I can find something to do with the small tasks and kind of work on that. So let's say I have like 3 hours of overtime one day, I go to make dinner. So out of that, I'm going to say 16-hour day, because I don't know if that's correct. 8 hours I work, then 4 hours, they'll say 12-hour day, right? All right, so the 8 hours I spend working. I'm doing an overtime day, I'll put with overtime, plus we'll say 4 hours, like a worst case scenario. I mean, yes, there's occasional 4 or 5 hour days, or extra 5 hours, but usually it's not that bad. It's like the worst case. I now have 12 hours I have spent on my day job. So once I get off work, I'm kind of tired, so I need to eat, right? So I'm gonna give myself an hour for food and just relaxing. And I do, like I said in the first video or second video, I make a lot of my food from scratch, but I also do a little bit of meal prep to kind of help. Um, so it doesn't take forever to make dinner and eat. And I also have meals that are quick to make, like spaghetti. um, that's something that we'll go over in this video as well. So I now have a 13-hour day. I'm already over, right? And I really am tired and I don't have that much to do, or I don't want to be on like out of bed any longer. I'm gonna go relax, lay down, go to bed. What I can do is I can say, you know what, while I have this time, while I'm maybe finishing dinner and stuff, I can go over my inventory and start updating that. And that will take maybe 15-30 minutes, right? So that 15-30 minutes of overtime or inventory. It doesn't have to be like a full inventory of like updating the logs or anything. It can just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go over this category, update the counts for this. And that's 15 minutes of inventory that I can, now have fixed or updated or whatever. That frees up my time for the days I don't work overtime and the days I don't work at all to focus on the big stuff. So I'm making sure to use my time wisely when I have it. And I'm not like stressing myself out. I'm like, oh my God, I only have 15-30 minutes tonight that I actually want to do the work. What can I do to help the business, basically? There's no freaking way I'm going to be making product, working on listings, editing, photography. I'm just not going to be awake enough to do any of that. So by finding these small tasks, I can actually benefit the business without super stressing myself out, burning myself out too much. And it's going to be actually pretty nice because on days off, the last thing I want to do is this. Nobody wants to do any of that boring stuff on their days off. This is the stuff I actually enjoy doing. I like making the product. I like making the listings and the editing and the photography. I like to do that, not this. So why not do it on the days that already suck? Another thing I need to do for the time assessment is how much time I'm doing for personal stuff. So we'll put personal here. So this includes grocery shopping, general errands, like I need to get stuff for the house, maybe something broke, like I'll just put house maintenance. If you're in an apartment, it'll be apartment maintenance. Maybe your dryer or something broke and you gotta call the apartment complex and then find a place to do your laundry. Stuff like that. So this is a little bit more difficult to kind of see how much time you're spending per week. I try to get as much done in a day as possible on my day off for a lot of this. I've now dedicated Sundays to more meal prep. So I can say I spend 4 hours a week for meal prep. And I'm actually hungry right now, so that's not the greatest thing to talk about. Errands, I can do the same thing. So 4 hours for errands. And that includes driving just to get gas, picking up things, dropping off I wouldn't say dropping off packages because that's more of a business task, but about driving, that might take like a half hour though. But sometimes I'll do it with my errands so I can get everything done in one shot. And then house maintenance, like cleaning, stuff like that. I'm going to say, I'm going to put 6 hours a week. Mainly because some things take longer than others. And not every week is the same. Like if I have to do some weeding outside in the front yard, I'm not doing that every day. I'm not doing that every week. But we'll say worst case scenario, it's about 6 hours a week for house maintenance stuff. So that's about 12 hours a week for personal things. And then I have generally 40-hour work. So I have 52 hours already dedicated for things. I don't know how many hours are in a week. Okay, so there's 168 hours a week. Obviously, I'm not doing things 24/7 in a week. So we'll say what, 168. I did this all wrong. All right, I have 116 left. And then I have 56 hours of sleeping because I need to sleep. That's 8-hour days. 8 hours of sleep each day. So that leaves me with 60 hours left over each week to do business stuff. That sounds like a lot. Now, this is something that obviously I'm not going to actually spend 60 hours a week on the business stuff. That's kind of silly. Oh, wait, is that right? Yes, I think that's right. Yeah, that should be, it's about right, because if I spend, all right, so I did the math. If I spend an extra 4 hours each day during the week on the business, plus about 8 hours on the weekend, that's about 44 hours I could work on the business a week, with about 20 left over for whatever else. So this math makes sense in my head. If it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. We'll just, it makes sense to me. But we can refine this here. So I have an average of 40-hour work week, right? I spend about 56 hours a week sleeping. That's 8 hours a night. You know, because we have a total of 160 hours in a week. Then I have another 12 hours on just general personal stuff. Let's say personal. And that means I'm spending 104 hours a week on all of that. And then minus the 160 hours that are available, I have about 65 left over to spend how I want. Now, obviously, it is unrealistic to say I'm going to spend every leftover hour on the business. It's just not realistic. I generally spend an extra 20 hours during the work week on the business. That's 4 hours a day. So, let's say leftover. I do 20 on business weekday. All right. So that's actually pretty good. Like, obviously I have worked more than 20 hours a week on the business during the workday, depending on like, oh, you know, on my lunch break, I'm going to get this one thing done real quick. I forgot to pay taxes, you know. But generally that's where I am at. So kind of like seeing how much free time I actually have is important. And again, if these hours are a lot in terms of math and everything, it's fine. This is just me going over my personal life, my time, how it looks. It's just good for me to know, like, I am doing what I realistically can, because I'm not spending an extra 40 hours a week on business all the time. There are times where I have used every waking moment to do stuff for the business, and I don't do that consistently, because it's just not possible for me right now. But I can at least say I'm working 20 hours extra on the weekday for just the business. I could maybe push that to 21 some weeks, right? So if I do 21, that gives me extra time to maybe do a couple more photography sessions for product, a couple more listings, a couple more, another hour of editing, stuff like that. It's just important for me to know. And that's kind of my time assessment for this video. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Yeah, 15 minutes. That's not too bad. It's just important for me to know, am I using my time wisely? Am I using it efficiently for the business and personal? And honestly, it looks like I am. I think there's a couple things that could be improved upon. I could probably do meal prep and errands a little bit better. Maybe I can find ways to shorten this a little bit, or maybe increase the meal prep and reduce, or maybe house maintenance, like cleaning and stuff. I can kind of combine that with meal prep and do things while food is cooking, that sort of thing. You know, just doing more than one thing at a time. I could probably do that a little bit more efficiently. And then with the side business though, I think I'm at a good place in terms of how much time I'm working on that, but I probably could use my overtime days a little bit more efficiently by focusing on small tasks that day instead of trying to do the big stuff and then getting disappointed and frustrated that I can't, or I don't get as much done as I want. So if you want to see how much time you realistically have, definitely sit down for like maybe 20 minutes and look over everything. What are you actually doing? What do you actually have to do? Where is your time? How much are you actually spending per week doing things? And then you can kind of evaluate, are you actually using your time efficiently? Where could you improve on things? Where are you kind of struggling? And how can you make that a little easier on yourself? If you haven't, check out the other 2 videos where I go over the business and personal finances, that assessment, and how I'm kind of evaluating things. If you have done this along with me, that's awesome. Let me know how you've found your time to be. Like, how does it actually looking versus what you'd like it to be? Is it in a spot that you're happy with? If you're not happy, what do you want to improve? This isn't to like cram as much as possible into a week. It's just, what can I actually do within this time that I have? All right, so that's it. Thank you guys for watching this video going over the time assessment. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down below. And I will see you in the next video, and we're going to actually go over assets. And that will be quite an interesting video. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you then.